Welcome back to the channel, guys. Now Barge Electrician. Been a little bit going on back on the Dutch barge, episode 2. You can see there's a little bit been going on since the last video. So started running some of the cables and the 230 volts as well, and that all runs behind the bulkhead. That way I'm not mixing up 12, 24 volt and 230. So I've started doing some of that, putting in the some of the bus bars. So there'll be a 24 volt bus bar and a 12 volt bus bar. And also I'm going to I've got these connectors here, and there's going to be another row of connectors above on a bit of a standoff. And that allows me to bring all the circuits from the boat, around the boat, back to here. And then those circuits then will go out to the switch panel that will be on this piece of wood here. So getting on with that, I'm going to do a lot more of that today. Also, yeah, Peter's been busy, so let's just take you quickly through what's been going on the infrastructure. That'll do. While I've been away. So Peter's looking here about putting the clarifier. So there'll be a couple of right-angled uprights there, right-angled uprights. Anyway, and there'll be a shaped wood there for the clarifier to sit on top of. He's also working on the supports for the battery box, which is going to sit between those two rails there. We have some PVC channel tray that's going to run across the back underneath the deck for any crisscrossing cables and things, which obviously there will be, because you can see a whole nest of them down there. Yeah, and here's the work in progress on the battery box itself. Peter's just gone to fit some gas. Gas seems to be in short supply at the moment, but you can see the quality of Peter's engineering is really, really good. So really enjoying working with him on this project. It's really nice. But for me, back up to the boat. There she is. Yeah, back to the boat. Get some cabling done. Get some of these terminals put in, and bus bars, and start to wire up the distribution, the links distribution, and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, let's crack on, shall we? Just the distribution bus bars really, so we've got readily accessible 24 volt and 12 volt. So there's the bus bar distribution, one for 24, one for 12. The 12 is provided for by the Orion 24 to 12 converter. So it's all starting to come together a little bit. Right, big cables for the batteries. Big cables, they're 70 mils. Remember we were 24 volt system on here, so the cables aren't as big as a 12. The big crimp tool's out today. And I don't know what you can see, for the eagle-eyed amongst you, that's actually the 50 mil formers in there. Formers, want of a better word? I don't know. Anyway, there's some of it right there. Oh, numpty. What? It's a 150. That's not good. Hey, it just shows I'm human. Where's the 50 mil there? Yeah, that weren't going to work very well. A 150 in the bottom and a 50 in the top. Must pay more attention, eh? Right, let's switch back that. Why? Okay, so why am I using a smaller tool? think they're called dies. Are they called dies? I think they probably are. Then the cable itself. Well, these crimpers are generally used on your normal industrial cables and not the stranded ones. I found out over the years, if I put a 70mm lug on a 70mm cable and use a 70mm die set, the crimp's just not enough, not good enough. So I always drop a size on this stranded cable. It gives me a good crimp that way. But there you go. Right, okay, so there's the 70mm crimps, which will go to the battery isolator and fuse down there. That's going to go on to the distribution, the links, distribution, top and bottom, negative, positive. Yep. I was talking to Russ. Hi Russ, if you're watching. One of the Victron distributors that I use. Actually, the Victron distributor that I use. And these guys have been drilling these out to fit a shunt. And he said to me that they've just found out that if you drill those out, you invalidate your warranty on the links box, distribution box. So I'm not doing that. So 8mm hole, 8mm lug. I was going to speak to the customer, he's just gone away, but if he wants a shunt to monitor the battery in and out, then I can fit one near the battery box anyway. It doesn't have to be here. There's only one cable going back to the batteries because all the distribution is handled by here, so happy days. Right, let's clear that up. Let's go and fit some bolts, and I can bolt this up, put some flexi conduit on it, call that up ready to connect to the batteries at a later date. Right, so carrying on with this links distribution box. These are the 50mm cables that are going down to the inverter. So what you have on these is a negative rail along the bottom that strangely the negatives connect to. Then you've got a positive rail on the top, and you pop the fuses, mega fuses, between the positive rail and the loads going out. So, well, loads and sources coming in, because one of them is solar. So, right, so that goes in there, pops in the trunk in, and they will go down to the inverter in a second. So that trunking is, I've only got a couple of small cables left to put in there for the 12 volt. I've got to calculate what I'm going to put on there. Then that trunking, it's getting quite busy, but it's nowhere near full. So when I look at other cables that have got come down here and around this area, there's not really that many. These are all our circuits to the boat that will come in here with another row across the top, and they will go then up and out and across. Let's lift you up and across then to where that switch panel is going to be here somewhere, or maybe up at the top, because that's pretty empty too. So they might come up and over. It depends where. There's plenty of room in there. So there we go. Fuse for the 12 volt I've put in. I've got to find a nut for it. Seems to be one missing on this little MIDI fuse. So 12 volt bus bars. I've got to connect the 24 volt bus bars up to this spare output there. And yeah, it's all coming along. So cables will drop down for the inverter, so I'll put them in a minute. Battery cables are out through the bulkhead towards the batteries, so they're in. Yeah, it's coming on. It's getting warm in here though. Yeah, we're up quite high because the boat is up on like a frame, and we're quite near the roof, if you can see. So and I'll start to feel the heat coming through there already. So yeah, you can actually feel that. Anyway, well, it's cracking on. Yeah, it's coming on. It's coming on. It's really nice doing a job like this, actually. Trying to get away from that light, plays havoc with the camera. It's quite nice doing a job like this because it's all from scratch. You have to think about it, make sure I've got all the bases covered. There's also, yes, shore power, which is a Victron item that's going into there. So I might pop a hole in there today, we'll see. And get that coming in, because I've got lots of 240 to wire up to 230. I'm so used to saying 240 for most of my life, it's been 240. So I really struggle with the 230 bit. And some of you guys have picked me up on that already, but yeah. It was 240 in the old days, and I'm old enough now to call them the old days. Right, let's crack on. It's all looking good. Trying to get as much done today as possible. Here for about 7 hours today. Right, let's get this 24 volt cables connected to the inverter. God, me. One of my pet hates that is, but still, inverter. Bother. Anyway, don't know what I'm talking like that for. Right, let's get this this positive and negative on here. M8's 50mm cable, which is MI's manufacturer's instructions. It's half the size of the 12 volt version. The 12 volt version calls for up to 5 meters anyway. 250mm. So, and the reason for that is we're doubling the voltage, so we're half the current. So the cable, that's one of the savings if you go 24 volt, is you can run smaller cables. Because the current is half what it would be on a 12. Right, let's see if I can get that in. So it's the positive over there first. That should work, I think. Right, there it is. So through the grommet, you can see, let's move that cable out of the way. Through the grommet, which protects the cable from any chafing, onto that negative post. Flat washer, spring washer, M8 nut, of course these cables are all dead, not live, not connected to any power source at the moment, so no chance of any sparks or arcing and whatever. And this time of year, strangely, electric shocks as well. 24 volt onto sweaty skin. You will definitely feel that. Oh, I could feel 12 volt a few days ago when I was fitting a 12 volt inverter. And that, yeah, on some of your delicate bits of skin like forearms and things, you definitely feel that. And in the wrong conditions, it is a lethal voltage, so be careful. That one. And that one. Pop a couple of tyres around those, keep them together. That'll do for now. Of course, when the lid's on, they'll sit in there quite happily. Right. few bits and pieces I'm thinking about as I'm going. I'm going to put a little earth bar because there are lots of cases that require earths to them, and rather, I don't want to go loop to loop to loop to loop. I want to bring them all back to a central source, so they'll go back to there, then to the earth that's in here. So I've just popped that in. Then there is a, wait for it, the Serbo GX needs a supply. It's got its own inline fuse, so I'm going to keep that. I try to keep everything as standard, not standard, but not mess with, let's say, manufacturer's hardware. So cutting looms and things like that, I try not to do, because like I said before, if you drilled these out, you see there, to 10 mil to put bigger bolts in, you invalidate the warranty. And that's the case on lots of things, so I try not to cut too much off or change things quite so much. So, and there's no real need to in this case anyway. This is just picking up a 24 volt supply off that new bus bar that we put in, and there's a little inline fuse there. Okay, cracking on a bit. Just put the live feed into the box consumer unit. You can sell it at the end of the week. Consumer unit, and also the port side is also connected up to the breaker as well. Bootlace fells on all the connections in there. Popped an earth over to this earth block that we're putting in. Yeah, but anyway, it is just bonding for the Victron equipment, just so all the chassis are grounded all the way back to the main earth. And of course, that earth will also go down to the hull as well as the neutral, the negative. Sorry, not the neutral, but the negative will. But just making sure they're all connected to earth individually. And the reason I've done it that way, if I just went ring to ring, one to one to one, if I had a break in a cable, I could potentially lose the earth to lots of equipment. So by doing it this way, that's reduced a little bit, in my eyes anyway. But yes, good. Yep, so that's earth. That doesn't need an earth, it's in a plastic case. The Orion needs an earth. There's no earth point actually on that though, strangely. Normally you would earth the heatsink. These will be earthed by the mains cables that come through. There's no earth on the distribution box. So yeah, just a few things. I shall leave that there, obviously. Talking gibberish today. I know I'm tired. Right, okay, so that's there just to earth anything that I want to earth as I go around. I'm also going to link these two neutral blocks together, because the neutral of the 12 volt, not neutral, negative of the 12 volt will be also connected to the negative of the 24 volt. So all the negatives will be connected together. So I'm going to put a loop in there. That's got to be done. Fuse I need to put in there. Cables now are through this bulkhead and protected as they come through, so they can't chafe. So that's those. I've got to drill another hole in here for the starboard side cables that need to come over, and I've got a bit more trunking to do, so I'm going to get on with that now. Well, it's starting to get a bit hot and bothered now. Yeah, I've just cut all the lids for the trunking as well. Got to cut that one. Certainly makes it look a lot neater when it's when the trunking's on. Still some cables to run. I'm going to concentrate now on the 230 down at the inverter, down the multiplus. That's just 230 in, 230 out. And there's an output 2, which will go to the immersion heater when I come to do that too. So yeah, it's all looking good. So yes, right, I think that will do us for today. So yes, I'm bouncing around a hell of a lot. I've had a busy week. All progressing nicely. start now to connect the looms in. I've got to do a schematic before I go crazy and go, oh, what did I do? So I've got to do a schematic so I know where I am up to date. By next visit, Peter should have the battery box done, so we can wire up the batteries, isolate the fuse and all that sort of stuff. Get some of this powered up. Of course, there's the shore power to go in as well. I might drill that now actually, so that's sort of in. Yeah, but anyway, guys, hopefully that's a bit of interest. It's a bit scatty this today, and I feel I'm a bit scatty just because of the amount of work I've done lately. But yeah, it's all coming on, all looking good. Please. So yeah, so right, thumbs up, all that sort of stuff, and I'll see you next time, guys. Yeah, see you then. Bye.